I stared at my reflection in the mirrored elevator, adjusting the $80 blazer I'd snagged from Macy's clearance rack. In a few minutes, I'd endure another family dinner, nodding politely while my siblings flaunted their latest achievements, oblivious to the life I'd quietly built. The elevator chimed and opened the rooftop lounge of the Chesby Club, Baltimore's elite members-only restaurant. There they were, the Langstons. My family, famous for real estate and mistaking wealth for worth. Well, look who finally showed. My older sister Rachel called, brushing imaginary lint from her Hermes blazer. Had to squeeze us in between shifts at that little office of yours? I slid into the empty seat beside Dad, ignoring his disapproving glance at my worn shoes. Sorry, late day, I murmured. Had to wrap a few things at work. You're still at that admin job, right? Connor, my younger brother, smirked, flipping through invoices like they were stock tips. Something like that, I said flatly. My real job? CEO of House Ion Ventures. But they didn't need to know yet. Dad sighed, like it was rehearsed. Elena, you're 34. When will you stop wasting your potential? Rachel's running our Florida expansion. Connor just locked a $10 million listing. I'm keeping the lights on, I said with a polite smile. Rachel's eyes sparkled. You'll love tomorrow's news. Langston Properties is partnering with Breast Capital. Their CEO is flying in to sign. $40 million. I sipped my sparkling water, hiding the twitch in my smile. Bell Capital. My company. Months of work. Invisible to them. They're sending someone named Alina Blackwood, Connor added proudly. Never heard of her, Rachel said, smirking. Probably some connections blogger. You'll meet her tomorrow, I said evenly. They laughed, clinking glasses, oblivious. Meanwhile, I ran the meeting in my head, the one where they'd be begging for my signature. They called me the black sheep. Tomorrow they'd call me boss. I'd seen opportunities they were too entitled to notice. Orion Data Systems, the startup I'd once worked for, had brilliant AI but was teetering on bankruptcy. I quietly used my savings and insider knowledge to acquire a controlling stake. The founders were relieved to focus on code. I handled the business. Within 2 years, Orion became Bellrest Capital, a tech investment powerhouse. No one knew it was me. Holding companies, anonymous trusts, masked video calls. While Rachel and Connor flaunted theirs online, I quietly built an empire. Bellrest now holds equity in over 60 companies, including several that outbid my family's firm on major developments. Yet I never upgraded my life. 2-bedroom Mount Vernon apartment, same college Honda Civic. Success didn't need to be loud. The waiter interrupted with another round of cocktails. Mom jumped into her favorite critique. My single status. You know, Elena, if you tried a little hair done, something not from a clearance rack, you might attract someone worthwhile. Rachel smirked. James and I are hosting a $3,000 per plate gala next month. Don't worry, Elena. We won't make you feel out of place. Connor chuckled. I thought of the invitations waiting at my desk at home, addressed to Bellrest CEO, practically begging me to attend. I'm not unhappy, I said calmly, cutting into my steak. Success doesn't look the same for everyone. Dad scoffed. That's what failures say to feel better, I murmured under my breath. Then Rachel's eyes lit up. Oh, remember that tiny tech firm you worked for? Guess who bought them? Bellrest Capital. Connor laughed. If only you'd stayed, Elena. You could have actually been part of something big for once. I dabbed my lips with my napkin, suppressing a grin. Yes, imagine that, Elena, part of something big. Mom leaned in. Their CEO is brilliant, ruthless, private. The kind of success you'll never touch. I raised my glass. Here's to surprises. Rachel, ever the social announcer, lifted her chin. The CEO of Bellrest is attending the contract signing tomorrow. Extremely selective about partnerships. Clearly, they know the Langston name carries weight. Clearly, I murmured, glancing at my phone beneath the table. An urgent email from my CFO flashed. Another tech acquisition in San Diego. 9 figures. A deal Rachel couldn't even dream of. Put that away, Mom snapped. It's not like anything important is coming through. Show some manners, Elena. I nodded, slipping my phone into my purse. Let them believe what they wanted. Dinner dragged on in its usual rhythm. Connor bragged about his growing real estate empire. Rachel gushed over her gala guest list. Mom and Dad practically glowed at their overachievers. And me? The quiet disappointment, the black sheep. I let it all slide. Tomorrow would speak for itself. The signing was set for 10 a.m. at Langston Properties' downtown office. Rachel had chased this partnership for nearly a year, clueless that she'd been negotiating with a sister she dismissed at every turn. As dessert arrived, Rachel leaned in with a parting jab. Don't worry, Elena. Maybe one day you'll vacation at one of my resorts. I'll even let you use the family discount. I smiled, imagining my cliffside mansion in Big Sur, bought in cash, never rented. That's generous, Rachel. Connor tossed down his black AMX to cover dinner. Next round's at my new penthouse, he said, smirking. Though fair warning, it might make some of us feel a little underdressed. I grabbed my worn tote and stood. Good luck tomorrow, I said smoothly. Hope everything goes just as planned. Rachel smirked. Some of us can handle real business. Just make sure your little office gig doesn't make you late. I walked past their cars, Rachel's sleek Mercedes, Connor's custom BMW, toward my parked Civic. Tomorrow, I'd pull up in my Rolls-Royce Phantom. Tomorrow, they'd learn the truth. Tonight, I returned to my modest apartment, powered up my secure workstation, and closed another deal. Real power doesn't announce itself. It builds quietly, relentlessly, until no one can ignore it. The next morning, I didn't reach for clearance rack slacks. I stepped into a navy cashmere chow tai fuck suit, tailored in Hong Kong, worth more than Rachel's car. My assistant, Jordan, had confirmed every detail. Today wasn't just business, it was history. The lobby of Langston Property buzzed with its usual entitled energy until I walked through the revolving doors at 9:55 a.m. Silence fell. Gone was the woman in bargain heels and a worn tote. In her place, a woman in 6-inch Louboutins, a soft silk blouse, radiating a presence no one could ignore. Jordan followed a respectful distance behind, carrying a Montblanc briefcase worth more than Connor's mortgage. The front desk security guard blinked. Miss Blackwood, I don't see you on the visitor list today. Check again, I said, calm and unbothered. His brow furrowed, then shot upward as my name appeared under VIP clearance. Of course, Miss Blackwood. Executive elevator this way. Every head in the lobby followed my steps. Each click of my heels echoed across the marble floor like a countdown. The elevator ride was silent. Just me, Jordan, and 7 years of work behind every stride. Through the glass walls of the boardroom, I spotted them. Ready. I smiled. I've been ready for 7 years. At exactly 10 o'clock, Jordan opened the door. Conversation froze. For pairs of eyes locked on me, disbelief written across their faces. Elena? Rachel choked. What are you doing here? We're about to have a very important meeting, Dad said, tone clipped. I know, I replied, placing my briefcase on the glass table and clicking it open. That's why I'm here. Mom narrowed her eyes. This isn't the time for stunts. I slid the contract across the table. Not a stunt. Velcro's CEO is already here. The silence was suffocating. Mom's hand flew to her throat, clutching her pearls. Connor looked like a fish gasping for air, mouth opening and closing silently. What kind of joke is this? Rachel snapped, voice cracking. Where's the actual CEO? I smiled and slid my business card across the table. Thick ivory, matte finish, black text. Elena Blackwood, founder and CEO, Bellrest Capital. Dad snatched it up, face plum-colored. This is impossible. Bellrest is worth billions, and you're just a what? An underachiever? A disappointment? The black sheep? I asked, calm, letting the words hang. Jordan stepped forward, distributing packets of the finalized investment agreement. You'll want your legal team to review Section 8.4 closely, I added. It outlines management compliance, very specific about maintaining operational integrity. Rachel snatched her copy, fingers trembling. This can't be real. You work in admin. You process invoices. Actually, I said, folding my hands, I haven't processed an invoice in over 7 years. I've been running Bellrest starting with that small AI firm I used to work for. I acquired it when it was floundering, and dozens more since, including the East Coast division of Crestmark Financial, just last week. Connor sank into his chair, wide-eyed. That penthouse you bragged about? I continued. Funded through one of my subsidiaries. Your so-called empire, under my control. Mom finally spoke. But your apartment, your clothes, that old car? All part of the plan, I replied. Not everyone needs a spotlight. Some of us build in silence and let results speak. Dad's voice dropped, bitter. Why this secrecy? Why not tell us? Because you never respected what you couldn't control, I said. You'd meddle, minimize, try to take credit. I rose, smoothing my tailored skirt, calm and commanding. Now then, I said, placing a pen beside the contract. Shall we discuss the terms of Bellrest's $60 million investment into Langston Properties? Rachel's face had gone pale, almost green. The negotiations, she whispered. I've been negotiating with you the whole time, I nodded. Through intermediaries. Though your original proposal was wildly inflated. Luckily, I already had the real numbers. The next hour was excruciating for them and exhilarating for me. Line by line, I walked them through the Bellrest capital contract, pausing just long enough to watch disbelief turn into dread. The $60 million investment would save Langston Properties from the brink. Debt had been piling up faster than they could hide, even from each other. Of course, I said, flipping to the final section. This agreement comes with conditions, specifically, management restructuring. I locked eyes with Rachel. You'll be stepping down as project lead. You can't. This is my deal. My project. Actually, I can. And it is my deal. Just like the last 3 you took credit for, each funded by Bellrest subsidiaries. I turned to Connor, whose composure had cracked. As for your real estate empire, we need to discuss those leverage loans you've been hiding. Bellrest now owns the majority. That means you work for me. Dad rose, chair scraping. This is outrageous. You can't just. I can, I said, calm but razor-sharp. Bellrest isn't just a holding firm. We have interests in over 60 major corporations. Your company? A footnote in our portfolio. But because you're family, I'll give you a choice. Sign and accept the changes, or don't, and watch everything collapse when we call in our debts. Silence blanketed the room. Rachel's shoulders shook with silent tears. Mom slumped in defeat. Connor stared at the papers as if they were fire. Dad finally picked up the pen, hand trembling as decades of ego shattered. One by one, they all signed. Jordan collected the contracts as I rose. I have another meeting across town, I said, slipping on my coat. Let yourselves out. My actual office makes this place look like a glorified storage unit. Jordan will walk you through the transition. I paused, hand on the door handle. Oh, and Rachel about that charity gala next month. Don't worry about my invitation. She blinked. What? I bought the venue last year. I replied faintly. Actually, I own most of the buildings your events are hosted in. Funny how that works. The ride back to Bellrest headquarters gave me a moment to reflect. Their stunned faces had been satisfying, yes, but this wasn't revenge. It was liberation. I was free to stop pretending. A text buzzed from Mom. Why didn't you tell us? I stared out at the Baltimore skyline. Every ridicule, every backhanded comment, every time they treated me like background noise, they only respect power when it's shoved in their face. Months later, the landscape shifted. Rachel quietly reassigned to a strategic advisory role. Connor's real estate empire folded under Bellrest restructuring, debts absorbed, independence gone. Parents rewrote the past for friends, the mysterious billionaire daughter who just needed time to bloom. I let them talk. It cost me nothing. I kept my modest apartment for balance. My Civic was donated to a women's shelter. My private penthouse atop Bellrest Tower remained a secret refuge. The next family dinner took place in my executive suite, 60 stories above the city. They marveled at the floor-to-ceiling skyline, the curated art, the quiet opulence. I raised a glass of wine worth more than Rachel's monthly salary. Success, I said softly, isn't about what you show off. It's what you build when no one is watching. No one dared respond. The black sheep had finally silenced the flock. And the twist? I still shopped at Target because real power doesn't need validation. It knows exactly who it is.